Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. Something a little bit different today. I am running a poll this morning. Should we extend the Premier League in Scotland, the Scottish Premiership? Should we extend it? If you're happy with the 12-team league and you think it's fantastic, click no for that. There's 23% have said that they're more than happy with the 12 end team league. If you think yes, we should extend the league, well, click yes in the comments. 79% currently say yes. 20 is down to 21% now say no, keep it at, let's back to 20, back down at 19, but up to 21, 24. Jesus, why would you want to keep it as a 12-team league? Are you happy playing Rangers 4 times a season? Is that the I think it would be easier from a football perspective. I think if you have a bigger league, it then gives you the opportunity to try out youngsters. Anyway, we'll see how that poll runs this morning. Celtic news is all about this potential Celtic manager candidates, and I'm standing up this morning because my back is done in, so I'm not sitting down. Just in case you're wondering why I'm not sitting in the chair. Martin O'Neill, it's been said that the Celtic hierarchy is still trying to persuade Martin O'Neill to become the next Celtic manager again. They want him to stay on in the job. It's an easy option now. We all know that it would be fantastic, but it would be an easy option for the club, and it's allowing the club to buy time. Everything that seems to be going on at the club just now seems to be about buying time. Don't know. It's a strange job. It's an easy. We all know that it would be. So anyway, Martin O'Neill, if he does not take the job, it's been said that, well, it's widely reported that Robbie Keane may be offered the job, but there's a report out this morning saying that there are other candidates potentially ahead of Robbie Keane. Come on, Celtic, it's 2 days until season ticket renewal deadline. It would be good to have the managerial position sorted out this week. It doesn't look like that we will have, so it looks like Celtic are just going to want you to buy tickets anyway. We seem to be the only club that seems to take. Why do Celtic always take such a long time to appoint a manager when we've known the situation since the turn of the year? And talking about managers, and I know a lot of you don't want to talk about it, but Wilfred Nancy. Yes, Wilfred Nancy. Alistair Johnston's been talking about Wilfred Nancy, and he said he found it difficult himself. He said, I knew what he wanted to implement and how different it would be compared to what we were used to here. It was just tough being injured and not being able to play out on the grass and help the guys understand exactly what Wilfred was trying to look for. Again, French is his first language. There are a couple of things that can get lost in translation a little bit. I was just trying my best, especially off the pitch, to help the guys out. But it's never the same when you're off the pitch trying to talk to guys. You know, it's not the same as being out there on the pitch trying to help them. He says it was a really sticky period. We dropped quite a few points there. It was a low point at the club. We never had the results like that in such a prolonged period. Asked if he thought that Nancy's ideas would have worked if he had a pre-season, Johnson continued. He says, look, I think he's a great manager. I think his football does work. Whatever the case, it was obvious it wasn't the right time. But that's not to say he can't go on to another European club or whatever and make it work. Would pre-season probably have helped? I do think so. Whenever you're trying to completely, play a different style of football and introduce some new ideas, it definitely helps to have friendly matches to really work on things. But that also is the challenge of working at a club like Celtic. You don't necessarily get time, especially when you come in mid-season. You need to hit the ground running, and that's something he was acutely aware of. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, But I've got no doubt in my mind, he is going somewhere else and will be a huge success. Alistair Johnson talking about Wilfred Nancy. I think if Wilfred Nancy, Irishman reporters just read my mind, Nancy pre-season may have been successful. I think it would have. Don't know. We've been clambering on about a style of football and a change of football, and you know we're going to if Martin O'Neill does stay as manager, we're going to get a similar type of football to what we played this year. You know, you can blame it on the players for so long, but you know the tactics didn't really seem to change much from. Well, the only time that they really did change was when Wilfred Nancy came in. When Sean Maloney and Fozzie and Martin O'Neill took over, there was still quite a lot of Brendan Ball. Anyway, Johnny Kenny. Johnny Kenny has been speaking to the media, which is quite funny actually. He's been speaking to the media back in Ireland, and Johnny Kenny insists that he can save Celtic millions by becoming the next 20-goal striker. He says that if the club want to splash cash in the summer, they can save millions by just making me the main striker. Johnny Kenny's desperate to land to prove himself at Celtic Park after being loaned out to Bolton in January, he said. It says this article. It says he netted 6 times. Do you think that Johnny Kenny... we attacked well. If we had a decent striker, who knows? Yeah, it's true, isn't it? We didn't have a striker. Wilfred Nancy knew we didn't have a striker. Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for when it comes to football, because you may want Martin O'Neill as manager purely for the loving relationship that you think that we have with the manager, and you know he's done really well, but the style of football. Anyway, back to Johnny Kenny. This 22-year-old season was cruelly cut short with a knee injury. He missed out on Sunday's promotion-clinching win over Stockport at Wembley. That would have been fun. I bet you any money that if Johnny Kenny was playing, Johnny Kenny would have scored at Wembley. They did ask him to come back to the club next year. He said no, he wants to go back to Scotland. Kenny believes he can nail down the number jersey at Celtic. Asked if he can hit the 20-goal benchmark. 20 goals, the benchmark, because that's the benchmark that another big Irishman got at Celtic. Can Johnny Kenny score 20 goals at Celtic? He said yes, definitely. I think that you get so many opportunities that I'd expect to find myself to get in and around that margin. When you look at Benjamin Negrim, he scored 20 goals in all competitions. I think that I could definitely, if I had the opportunity, I would do that. I struck 6 times at Celtic during the first half of a turbulent campaign under 3 different managers. The barren run under Wilfred Nancy dented his confidence before Martin O'Neill returned and sanctioned the loan move for long-term admirers Bolton, who made a £500,000 offer for Johnny Kenny last summer. Will they come in with another offer? The former Shamrock Rovers goal machine, this says, he was a goal machine back in Ireland. It hasn't really kicked off for him at Celtic. I think he plays better. I think what Johnny Kenny has proven is that Johnny Kenny is a great striker if he plays off the back of someone else. I said at the time, I said at the beginning of last season now, I didn't think that Johnny, like, we can go back to what Brendan Rodgers and the backroom staff said about Johnny Kenny the season after last season, 2 seasons ago now. They said that they were thinking about putting Johnny Kenny out on loan. They didn't want to put him under pressure this season at Celtic. They wanted to put him out on loan again at a higher club, rather than Shamrock Rovers. Bolton would have been perfect. You know, he went there, he's done the job, his confidence is up, he's played behind the main striker. And I think that that's where Johnny Kenny's presence lies. You know, I think it'll be interesting to see, because if Johnny Kenny comes in, well, he will do because he's a Celtic player. He will come back at pre-season. If he comes back in pre-season, and if he'll sit and have a wee word with Scalesy, you know, because Scalesy was punted out to Aberdeen. Scalesy was unloved by the Celtic fan base, and he's not good enough. The young lad from Ireland is just not going to make it at Celtic. He's Aberdeen's maybe his level, and we all know the story. You know, Johnny Kenny will sit there and Scales will say, "Look, mate, just hang in. You get your chance. When you get your chance, just go for it. Just absolutely go for it. You know, give the manager something to think about. Prove everyone wrong. It's great when you do that. Absolutely fantastic." And look at him now. Scales, mainstay of the defence. Some people say that he's not the best defender, and it's a step backwards offering him such a long contract. Anyway, one of Kenny's more challenging games at Celtic came when Celtic lost 2-1 to Dundee United under Nancy in December. Johnny Kenny did miss a number of chances that game. He said it was one of the worst nights of my career. You just got to get it out of your memory as soon as possible. Wake up the next morning and the sun's still shining. You need to get on with it. There's nothing you can do about it. But that was probably one of the toughest nights of my career, Celtic losing to Dundee United. It is what it is now. I, unfortunately, have to move on. You can't dwell on it. But if I could go back and get my time and those chances again, I wish I could. You just need to keep going. For that reason, and that one reason only, I am confident that I can go back to Celtic in the summer and start scoring goals again. Tell me what you think about that one, because that's an interesting one. Do you think that Johnny Kenny is the striker that can score 20 goals for Celtic? Can he do an Adam Ida? Don't know. That was my target for Adam Ida. Adam Ida's nine goals on half a loan season, 20 goals off the bench, second fiddle. That's what I would be expecting Johnny Kenny to do. I think Celtic are in a really lucky position. I think that, okay, we have Kelechi Iheanacho, who may or may not, depending on the manager. If we play one up front, then someone has to go, whether it be Johnny Kenny or Kelechi Iheanacho. A manager might look at it and go, do you give the young guys a chance? And ultimately for the club, you could make more money from the younger guys. So you have your second and third choice striker is Johnny Kenny and Callum Osmond. And then Celtic go out and spend 10 million on a striker that's proven to score 15 to 20 plus goals a season. So then you bring someone in, and the other two lads know that, you know, he's probably going to be the number one striker, but you're fighting it out for that place on the bench, and you're pushing that number one striker. Maybe Johnny Kenny will go, I want to be that number one striker. Does he have that fight in him? Or will the manager come in and go, no, I think we need a change at Celtic. I think we need to play two up front. I've been watching from afar and having one striker in the box when there's 6 or 7 defenders from the opposing team. I know that you can have wingers come and try to run in and midfielders trying to make runs, midfielders try to hit for the edge of the box. But it'd be a lot easier if you had 2 strikers in the box. But it's not for us to decide, is it? That's the next manager. If Osman continues to progress, Johnny Kenny improves, and Iheanacho picks up those minutes, could actually be an alright selection. I still think that we need to buy a good, proven striker. I'm still not convinced that Kelechi Iheanacho is a 20... The historical data tells us that he's never scored. He's not going to be a 20 goal a season striker, and that's what we're looking at. Don't know. Will is the wage structure there to keep Kelechi Iheanacho at Celtic and keep him happy? It would be the next question. Because if you're only playing one striker up front, there is no way that you can have four strikers at Celtic. It takes away from other positions in the team where you could utilise that player. Why be at Celtic if they can't handle pressure? Diamonds were formed this season, and Kenny wanted out. I don't think that Kenny wanted out. I think that it was for the good of his. I think it was good for him to go out and not play under the pressure. I think he would have preferred to have stayed at Celtic. It was Celtic that went out and got other players in. They brought in Tam the Czech, an alleged proven goal scorer. So when you bring in Tam the Czech and you've got Iheanacho and Callum Osman was on the way back, you've got Daisen Maeda, Johnny Kenny would have been surplus to requirements, so he would have been sitting, he wouldn't even have made the bench. So I think it was prudent by the club to send Johnny Kenny out on loan to keep the momentum going with what had been a troubling first half to the season. So I think it was prudent by the club. I don't think that he wanted out. I think for the long-term development of Johnny Kenny, it was the right thing to do. The merchandise for the double will hit your inbox before Friday's season ticket deadline. Johnny Kenny is garbage striker. We need to set our sights on a proven goal scorer and have Osmond and Kells as backup. Johnny Kenny scored more goals than Kelechi Iheanacho. Andrew, I'm just saying. Don't know. People have got this. I don't think that people realise how bad Kelechi Iheanacho's strike rate has been over the course of a season. It's weird. It is. It's honestly weird. After all the moaning that we've done about striker this season, we could end up with the same ones. Celtic. This is very true. Johnny Kenny will come good. I really like him, says Chill Bill. Kelechi Osman. Kelechi isn't a Celtic striker right now. I think that we need to focus, because if the manager that comes in goes, I've seen Kelechi over the years and I don't rate him as a striker. Just don't rate him as a striker. He's not what I would call prolific. Could happen. Don't know. Do you want to offer Kelechi a year's contract? Nah, I'd rather get someone else in. Watch this space. Watch this space. That's all I'm saying. Thought poor young Osmond never got any minutes in the cup final. Yeah, I was kind of hoping he was going to get some minutes, but it wasn't to be. A club like Celtic is all about emotion and connection with both fans and the club. Nancy never got that bit. Pity. I was looking forward to his appointment, but sometimes it doesn't work out. I think it was always going to be an interesting appointment. Do you know Alistair Johnston saying that if he had gotten a pre-season, you know, there was, and the thing is at the time there was old interviews getting put out from Dermot Desmond, who was saying that it wasn't an ideal time to look for a new manager because of commitments, and you know, some managers wouldn't want to walk away from a club mid-season, compensation, you know, blah 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 blah. It's could we have waited until the summer? If we had waited until this time, we wouldn't appoint Wilfred Nancy. I think that there are far more. There are other candidates out there that would have been available and potentially better fits. But we'll wait and see. Kenny is still young. Yes, he is that. I've had egg on my face ever since I said that Johnny Kenny was on Evan Ferguson. I still stand by it. He's got the tools. We can speculate before the manager's confirmed. Yeah, we can speculate, but that's all it is. Kenny's performed in Ireland on loan, is now performing in England on loan. He can handle the pressure. Celtic, evidently. I think that it is all about, when you look at, let's give Johnny Kenny a bit of credit here. The first half of the season, Johnny Kenny's playing through the middle. Dies Maida's out in the wing. Dies Maida, woeful. Terrible half of the season. Wasn't interested. Couldn't find Johnny Kenny if you put a big X on a marker pen and a halogen lamp under his shirt and you know, make him stick out like a Sam missile. At that point, there is absolutely no way that Dies Maida would have found him on the end of a cross. Just wasn't happening. Just wasn't happening. Wasn't happening for Celtic. And I think that Johnny Kenny bore the brunt of a lot of it. You know, when you look back and you analyse the season. Kenny's not got the skill or temperament Nacho's got. Comes down to goals. Number of goals per season is the only stat people look at when it comes to strikers. Stats show you Kelechi Iheanacho has never scored yeah, there we go. Let me just see his transfer market profile. Because some people think you just make it up, but when you look at his Kelechi Iheanacho came through Man City under 18s. Man City sell him to Leicester for 15 million. 20, was it 27 million? What one was it? 27 million. Leicester sell him to Seville for 12 million. Seville loan him out to Middlesbrough. From Middlesbrough, goes back to Seville and then joins Celtic on a free transfer. That was all loans, wasn't it? He's only been sold once. And he's been loaned out. When you look at his goals, yeah, his top value was 20 million. Stats, all seasons. Championship. Scored 15 goals for Middlesbrough one season. No, that's not goals. No, that's not goals. That's games. Jesus. He's not had a lot of game time, has he? At the clubs that he's been at. You've got to ask yourself why. Wow. The most games that Kelechi Iheanacho's ever played in a season was the 18-19 season where he played 30 games. That's the most games that he's played in a season in his career. When you look at the goals, stats by club, for all the time that he was at Leicester, 200... I need to show you these stats because this is where it really matters. What are those bloody cats doing? Little shits. I'm going to sit down because my back is killing me. 2 seconds. Just come down to me. Kelechi Iheanacho. Oh, there we go. That's better. Sitting down again. Let's get this on this screen. Kelechi Iheanacho, 232 games at Leicester. He only scored 61 goals. 36. He scored 9 goals at Celtic. What's this one? More details. Let's click on this. What are you used to doing? Got it. He scored 102 goals in his entire career. 102 goals in his entire career. That's not saying prolific for me. That's not saying prolific at all. Get off my chair. So tell me what you think. Do you think that Kelechi Iheanacho is the prolific striker that we need? Seville, 11 games, 3 goals. Middlesbrough, 15, 1. Leicester under 23s. Man City, 7. Played 7, 5 goals. Celtic said he's played 24, 9 goals. But some people think that that's the striker that we need at Celtic. I don't think he's prolific enough, personally, but it is all about opinions, as they say. So, right, let's jump back into the comments, and it's all about Johnny Kenny. If Nancy came in before pre-season, I think things could have been a lot different. Calmack was punted out on loan. Yes, he was that. Why not give the young boy a chance, along with Osmond? I think that would be a prudent way forward. I think Kenny can get 20 more a season, but only Martin O'Neill can unlock that talent next season. If probably not, he'll be a bit part player like he has been. Interesting. If Martin O'Neill gets the gaffer's scapegoat's job, we have a fair idea who's staying and who's going. Kelch has a great touch, good feet, good chance, but no pace. This is very true. And that was shown in the last game of the season against Hearts, where if he had a bit of pace, he could have went on and scored the goal. I think Johnny Kenny, if he's got that ball, if he got the opportunity that Kel's got towards the end of the game, I think that Johnny Kenny is breaking away and scoring that goal at the end of the goal. Big Talk Kenny, why is he putting the pressure on? I don't think he's putting the pressure on. I think he's just reiterating that he is a Celtic player, and he will be back at the club in the summer. And he's, I think that he wants to prove a point. And I think that it's not putting pressure on. If anything, he's putting pressure on himself. I don't think he's putting pressure on Celtic. He's putting pressure on himself to prove himself to the Celtic fans that are disillusioned with Johnny Kenny. We got rid of a 20-goal scoring striker. Good morning, kid keeper. He sounds determined. I would give him to January, but the truth is, we need a 20-goal scorer season. I think we need another one. Boyle signed for another year. Nacho scored 19 goals with very little game time. Nacho scored 19 goals at Celtic. No, he's not. Where are you getting that from? Anyway, right, that's on the 28-minute mark this morning. If I haven't read out your comments, I apologise. Stats are what they are because he was at Leicester where he played second strike to Varkey. That's what it is then, isn't it? Anyway, Seville ripped up a 12-month contract to let him go. Mad. Exactly. It's crazy. Anyway, that is me done and dusted for this morning. Hopefully we'll get... And there's a bit of breaking news this morning regarding... Let me just see if he's done it on Instagram. Where is he? Has he put it out on Instagram? There we go. No. So where does he put it out on? I'm just trying to... Kasper Schmeichel has retired from football. He has decided to retire from football. Schmeichel spoke on TV. He says, I have consulted several different surgeons and experts regarding my shoulder. They've all said I should not expect to be able to return to elite football. I've thought about it a lot and I think about the time is right. Even after dropping out the side in March, Michael stayed close to the squad and travelled to Motherwell. Whilst I think that it's sad that his career is over. All he's done is he's not come out officially said it, but there you go. Kasper Schmeichel is in retirement mode. Some will say, sure to God, honestly, they're getting locked up, these two. Some will say that it was he should have done it a long time ago. Anyway, right, that's me done and dusted for this morning. There will be no. That's no news. It was obvious. Yeah, I know. There will be no live at 8 p.m. tonight because there's a European final on at 8 p.m. tonight. And to be fair, I think everyone will be watching the Europa League final. The Europa League final that has a couple of teams playing in it. That's one's obviously from Spain and the other from England. No, it's not the Europa. It's the what is it? The one under the Europa. The one that we were all hoping Rangers would be in next year. Anyway, who knows? But we'll be on a little bit earlier than that. So we'll wait and see. Have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are all around the world.